Okay, here's a fun geometry problem for you. Start with a square with a side length of 4. Mark points E on AB says that EB is 1. Mark point F on BC says that FB is 1. Join AF and CE and let them meet at point P. Now, what you have to find is the length of BP. Try this problem on your own, and when you are done, unpause the video to learn how to solve this problem. Alright, assuming that you have had a go on it, let's try to solve this problem together. What can we do actually is, since we need a lot of measurements here, we can mark this in a coordinate plane. So let's say that's my y-axis, that's my x-axis. Says that D is the origin at point 0, 0. Now since the side length of A is the square is 4, this means that this is at a point 0, 4, A. B would be at a point 4, 4, and C would be at a point 4, 0. Alright, so we need to figure out the coordinates of point P. So how can we do that? Well, we can find the equation of this line AF. How can we do that? So what's the slope of AF? So here, let me do that here. Alright, so what's the slope? That's change in y over change in x. How much does my y change? I go down by 1, so my change in y would be -1. And what is my change in x? Well, I move forward by 4, so my change in x would be 4. Alright, so that's my slope. What's my y-intercept? Well, that's 4, right? So b1 is 4. So we can figure out the equation, that's y equals -1/4 of x plus, let me fix that, plus 4, and that's my first equation. Alright, so now let's proceed to find the equation of this orange line CE. So for the orange line, what's my slope? That's change in y over change in x. How much does my y change? Well, I move down from E to C, I move down by 4, so change in y is -4. And how much do I change in x? I move forward by 1, so -4 is my slope. Now what is my y-intercept? So let us figure it out. Well, I know that the equation would be in the form y equals mx plus b. So y equals -4x plus whatever b2 is there. This implies that we know that 4, 0 satisfies this. So I know that 0 equals -4 times 4 plus b2, which definitely implies that b2 is 16, right? So that's my y-intercept. Now we can now form this equation for this CE. That's some notification there. We can easily form the equation for CE. So that's y equals -4x plus b2, that's 16, right? That's my second equation. So how can we figure out the coordinates of point P? Well, P is the intersection point of the two lines, and so we can figure it out. What we can do is we can replace this y, we can plug this value of y into this first equation that we figured out. So I can see the first equation, that's -1/4 x plus 4, that's going to be equal to the y, that's -4x plus 16. So let us figure it out. So that's 4x minus 1/4 of x, that is going to be 12. This implies that that's 16 minus 1, 15 over 4x is equal to 12, which implies that x is x is 12 times 4 over 15. Simplifying, we can get 4, 3, that's 5. 16 over 5. So that's my x coordinate of point P. So that's progress. That's progress. And now we can plug in the value of x in one of those equations, and we can figure out what exactly is the y coordinate. So y equals negative 4x plus 16. So that's negative 4 times 16, and that's 80 or all over 5. So that's, I suppose, 64. That's 16 over 5. So I have figured out the y coordinate of P as well. So back into our diagram, we can say with surety that this is the point 16 by 5 comma 16 by 5. Alright, so how can we now figure out the distance between these two? Well, we can use the distance formula. How much do we change in x? How much does our x change by? Well, that's, so b is at 4 comma 4, and that's 16. So my change in x is 4 minus 16 over 5. That's 4 over 5, right? And what's my change in y? What's my change in y going to be? That's 4 minus 16 over 5 again, because the y coordinate of p is also 16 over 5, and that's 4 over 5, right? And what is my distance formula? Let me change the page. What does my distance formula say? The distance, the length of BP, that is going to be the root of change in x squared plus change in y squared, which is just going to be, let me leave a line there so that it looks a bit neat, that's 4 over 5 the